Today we're going to be discussing a topic that I'm very familiar with, and that is being a working adult. I'm sure you guys watching are also working adults. If you're not, this video will contain some manga recommendations that are more suitable for older teens and above. So if you are someone on the younger side, then this might not be your video. If you're like me and have to pay taxes, then this video is for you. So the theme of today's video is going to be Yuri and BL featuring working adults, which very niche, but I really happen to enjoy series that follow working adults, whether they're just like regular office workers or you get to see different professions, but I just really like seeing like working adults getting into romances. You guys know that I love a good office romance, and even if we don't follow them exactly like in an office setting, I just really like seeing people work. I think I just like watching other adults work because it makes me feel less lonely, okay? Also, today's video is sponsored by DLsite. If you're not familiar with DLsite, they're an online platform where you can purchase doujin works. And if you don't know what doujin is, basically it's self-published works. It can be manga, webtoons, games, as well as voice dramas. So when you purchase from DLsite, not only do you get to support the artist directly, but they also get compensated fairly. So the way this recommendation video is going to be working is that I have 3 Yuri, 3 BLs to talk about, so I'm just going to take turns, and we're going to get started with the ladies first, okay? We're going to get started with the Yuri. The very first title that I want to talk about is Senpai no Kouhai, which is a title that you can buy on DLsite, and this Yuri was so good. Honestly, it might be one of my favorite Yuri that I've read so far this year. So we have the slightly older woman who had a crush on her Kouhai even back in university. And suddenly, one day on her way to work, she stumbles upon her Kouhai, the one that she used to crush on back in university. But now the women are slightly older and more mature, and she's just like basking in this serendipitous moment of stumbling across the woman that she had feelings for all those years ago. And it turns out that her Kouhai is going to be her Kouhai once again because she's the new employee that just got hired. The older woman's name is Sayuri, and she is just like, her brain is going a million miles per second. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that we're reunited and she's working with me. And she's trying not to make it so obvious to the rest of the team that she's having this crisis that, she's recalling, the past and how much she, admired her Kouhai and how pretty she is. And her Kouhai is just like excited to be part of the team. If you're someone that enjoys a little bit of tension, there's definitely some of that in this story because in the beginning, Sayuri doesn't really know if Risa, the younger Kouhai, if she's even a lesbian. She just thinks that she might get disgusted by the fact that she has feelings for another woman. And we also do see flashback scenes of when they were both in university, and Sayuri has always been the very quiet, reserved type. So we do see Sayuri just, be off in the distance in the library, just admiring Risa as she's like very bubbly and very likable person. She was always surrounded by friends and always had a smile on her face. And it's just like that longing, just like you could tell Sayuri just wanted so bad to like reach out and talk to Risa, but she just didn't want to be perceived as a weirdo back then. There's just a lot of emotion and a lot of build-up too, which is really good to see, especially in a one-shot. When the story is so short, it sometimes pacing can be a little bit of an issue, but with this series specifically, I didn't find that to be an issue. It just moved at a very nice pace. Once those two actually communicate with one another, it feels so good. I read this at the library and I just wanted to be like, oh, I wanted to clap. It was so, so good. So if you really enjoy more of a Yuri with some drama and definitely a really good ending that just makes you feel very satisfied, I feel like Senpai no Kouhai is going to be one to check out. My only complaint is that I want more of them, actually. I really love both of the characters. I feel like the character design was really well. The storyline, obviously, I really love the plot. But those two women were drawn so fashionable. Like, it just made me so happy to see, like, femininity be celebrated, honestly. I really, really love Senpai no Kouhai. Highly recommend. In terms of age range, I feel like this one would be suitable for teens and above. There's really nothing, like, explicit or, like, too adult in this series, but just the working life would definitely appeal more to an older audience. Now moving on to a BL with a very unconventional premise. A little bit on the odd side, but I found it to be very entertaining. This is The Dashing Zaddy and his icy protege. Yes, we're talking about the Zaddy himself. This is an office rom-com heavy on the comedy because this was such a funny read. So basically, you do follow a very dashing Zaddy. He is an older man in his 40s, and his icy protege, who is a 26-year-old office worker who looks up to the Zaddy himself. We do have the Zaddy himself, who is this man that just looks so cool and he's so well respected in the office space. Look at this 40-year-old man. Like, he is dreamy. So dreamy. But behind the exterior of two men who look seemingly perfect on the outside, they're both dealing with their own issues. Like our dashing Zaddy, he has erectile dysfunction. He can't get it up. And he is struggling. It's like his biggest dilemma that he cannot get it up. So despite the fact that you have women throwing themselves at him, he can't really hook up with them because he can't get it up. And our icy protege, his dilemma is that he really, really, really loves his mentor and the dashing Zaddy himself. He is 100% a certified fanboy. Like, he has got it that bad. The first volume is filled with so many funny moments between these two, especially since our icy protege is just, trying to play it cool so damn bad. And instead, he just comes off as a jerk or as a dork. Either one. He's not as cool, calm, and collected as the dashing Zaddy himself. And even the dashing Zaddy himself is, very cool looking on the outside, but he's kind of a dork as well. I just heard to this. There's a lot of very awkward moments, but I feel like my favorite moment and the one that made me just like lose it because I was laughing so much is when they're both at the hotel room and, there was just a humongous like misunderstanding at the restaurant where they were both eating. He's just trying to help the dashing Zaddy and they end up in a very compromising position. That's all I will say. And in that moment, the erectile dysfunction was completely resolved. The tower went up and there's fireworks in the background. Is it the Tokyo Tower is behind them? Yeah, it does look like it's a Tokyo Tower. And then you have an older woman that got turned down by the dashing Zaddy looking at those same fireworks, not knowing that he can actually get it up. If you're looking for a BL that has an older character and even like an older supporting cast, this one is it for you. If you want a lot of like very funny, obnoxious, like over the top moments, then I think you would enjoy this one. It is just like, honestly, I had such a fun time reading this. Definitely the title's a little bit out there and the premise is a little bit out there as well, but it was a very fun read. This is a mature 18 plus read. It still hasn't gotten like too spicy, but if it has that 18 plus age recommendation, it probably is going to get a little bit spicy down the road. Now we're going to go back to the Yuri. We have Pink Candy Kiss that I have spoken very highly about. And this guy, from the moment I read it, I was immediately hooked. If you're a fan of series like Even Though We're Adults or Run Away With Me Girl, this one you will definitely like. It has a lot of the same themes going for them, like a married woman and another one that has an unrequited, very strong love for the other woman. Yeah, they're just having to, navigate navigate their feelings. And then you have like the husband as well that's in the mix. You know it's about to get real messy. Real messy and real dramatic. And you know what? This is the type of beauty that I absolutely love because I end up rooting for our lesbians. I just want them to be happy and not have to appease to societal pressures. And with this one, like I said, we have a lot of that. We follow Takara, who is in her early 30s. She has just been dumped by her ex-boyfriend, and she basically gets told that she's very cold-hearted. She's just feeling very down in the dumps, which definitely happens, especially if you're the one getting broken up with. And I have to say, I really enjoy these panels where you see Takara just walking by herself, just wondering about like whether there's something wrong with her and what she's doing wrong. And then we see Takara in her workplace. She kind of works at a real estate office, and a very familiar face from her past happens to walk in looking for a place of her own. And when she makes the realization that the woman standing in front of her is someone from her past, and she's not just a random woman looking for an apartment for herself, she just gets dumbfounded. She's like, wait a minute, is it Emma? Turns out this woman is the girl that she fell in love with back in middle school. So Takara has had it bad for Emma, and she thought they were never going to see each other ever again, and that she lost basically the love of her life. And you know what? Takara is not the only woman with very strong feelings, because the moment they reunite, it literally brings Emma to tears. From there, the two women are so over the moon that they have finally reunited after all of these years that they decide to meet up at the restaurant that Emma owns. And oh my god, this whole scene is the cutest thing ever because Emma is just so excited. And you have Takara, who's just like trying to bottle her feelings in. And that's when we find out that Emma is married. Literally the whole time after they reunite, these two cannot help but stare at their lips. They're just like lusting after each other. And you can definitely cut that tension. Like, it is just so strong. And even when the husband gets in the mix, like, he's just so happy to see his wife finally show more emotion. And she's just so happy and bubbly and showing like a different side to her that he hasn't seen, but that are suddenly coming out because she has been reunited with Takara, who she hasn't seen since they were both teens. And you can already kind of tell where this story is going to go. And to be honest, I'm in for the ride. Infidelity does suck, I will say, but you know what? These two characters, even from the first volume, I felt like they were both very well written, and the plot just seems very interesting to me. So I am definitely looking forward to following Pink Candy Kiss, especially since the other two series that I mentioned, the ones that remind me of this series, have concluded so far. So I have something to kind of fill the void. We're going to take a quick commercial break, so here's a little bit more information about our sponsor, DLsite. If you're not familiar with DLsite, they're the online platform for doujin works. Those are independent and self-published content such as games, manga, webtoons, and voice dramas. A lot of the works are in Japanese, but there's a pretty good number of works that are available in English for us to enjoy. DLsite supports indie artists by ensuring that creators are paid fairly, and for the consumer, we're able to get these titles for a great price. If you're into manga specifically, you can browse genres like BL or Yuri, or you can also browse tropes such as classmates, salary worker, or childhood friends. DLsite also has a version of their website called DLsite Karumani, which is specifically for a female manga demographic by focusing on otome and BL works. If you're interested in buying a specific title, DLsite points can easily be purchased with a credit card, Amazon Pay, and also crypto. If you want to save money and also support independent artists, I will leave my affiliate link in the information bar below so you can go check it out and enjoy your discount. And now back to the recommendations. Now we're going to be talking about another BL. This is from DLsite. The name of the title is Hitose Floral Formula, and you follow an ensemble cast here. I'm going to read out their descriptions here because they all have different ages and different professions. So the first character, who's our main guy, the very cutesy guy, the black hair here. His name is Shirai Akihito. He is 25 years old and he works as a nurse at an all-boys high school. Then we have Momose Haruya, who is 22 years old and works at his family's flower shop. Then we have Akihito's friend Kurokawa Fuyutsuki, who is 25 years old and works as a software engineer. And finally, we have a friend of Haruya. His name is Shida Natsuya, who is 23 years old and is a very flamboyant beautician. So all the men have very, very different professions and they all have very distinct personalities as well. But Akihito, who's a nurse, happens to frequent the flower shop where Haruya works quite a lot, to the point that Haruya has developed a massive crush on Akihito and just confesses out of the blue. Just tells him, I love you. Which takes Akihito like aback. He's like, whoa there. I just like buying flowers from you. Like, what's going on? In the moment of panic, Akihito decides to give Haruya a shot, at least as friends. Like, hey, let's at least get to know one another before we start confessing that we love each other. So they decide to go out and have a little lunch date to get to know each other a little bit better. But Akihito doesn't want to give the impression that this is like a romantic date. So he invites his friend Fuyutsuki to come along and be the third wheel. But this plan of including Fuyutsuki as the third wheel kind of backfires when he actually really likes Haruya for his friend Akihito. So it ends up not going to plan. From there, the men become a little bit more friendly, and that's when we get the introduction of Haruya's friend Natsuna. And it just becomes even more adorable because you start seeing that the two men kind of like break up into two pairs. So we have Akihito and Haruya, and then Natsuna and Fuyutsuki as well. And it's just so cute. Honestly, I was reading this at the library and I was just literally smiling because each of the pairings are very, very cute and they play up to like the opposites attract trope. So you have, Akihito, who's more reserved and shy, and Haruya, who's a little bit more extroverted and kind of has this like puppy-like personality. So they balance each other really well. And Fuyutsuki is also very cold and stoic and very just like reserved. And Natsuna is much more eccentric and extroverted. I mean, he's a beautician, so they complement each other really, really well. This one shot is very slice of life. There's just a lot of like smaller like scenarios playing out and everything is like super cute and like it just gave me like all the butterflies. I will say my one complaint, very similar to Senpai no Kouhai, is that these characters were so cute. I loved following them and I kind of just wanted more to be completely honest. So if you're looking for a very lighthearted and cutesy BL rom-com featuring, men in their 20s, I feel like this one is a very cute and quick read. And now we're going from cute to a little spicy. This one is a Yuri title called Love Only the Body, and this is actually an omnibus edition, which is quite a long read. I really enjoyed it. I cannot say that I have the complaint that I wanted more because this has so much going on. So as you can see, our two women happen to be office workers. We have another Kouhai and Senpai situation going on here. I feel like the roles are reversed when it comes to this series. Our beautiful black hair woman is the older one in this pairing. Her name is Haruka Togo. She is 27 years old and she does PR at an electronics company. Although she is older, has more of a professional and stoic personality, she actually likes very cutesy girls and she doesn't like to be the top or the dominant one. And then we have the golden retriever of this pairing. Her name is Rika Sayama. She is 25 years old and also does PR at the electronics company. She is the newest addition to the team, so she is the Kouhai in this situation. Although she has a very sweet look to her and a very bubbly personality, literally every single person at the office absolutely adores her. She is a little bit of a freak. Honestly, her office life persona and her out of office persona, they're like completely different. She's just like super cute, super bubbly, super like girly at the office. Like everybody just assumes that she would be like someone that really likes someone to take care of her. And she's not that. She likes to be in control. She's definitely the top, the like dominant one. She has a thing for the quiet type. So when she got a hold of Haruka, her eyes just went zoop. I want her, especially because Haruka has a very curvaceous, womanly body, and Rika is just all over that. But you know what? Haruka also has a thing for Rika because on the exterior, Rika is pretty much her ideal girl. She is bubbly, she is cute, she dresses very like girly as well, and her personality just being like so like bubbly and like sweet. Haruka is just like, yeah, like I want her, but off the clock completely different. And Haruka is just like, what the hell? What did I get myself into? Because this is not the sweet Kouhai that I have at work. In a lot of ways, Love Only the Body does remind me a little bit of the dashing Zaddy and his icy protege if the roles were a little bit reversed. So the younger one is definitely the more dominant one, and the one with, I think, the more drastic personality change. But apart from all the awkward and very funny sexual like scenarios that we see throughout this omnibus, Haruka really does have good intentions and she just really wants to find someone to settle down with. She wants to find the love of her life. And unfortunately, Rika is someone who's kind of I was gonna say a playboy, but it's a girl, but she is someone that doesn't really want to settle down. She loves women a lot actually, to the point that she has a full, like, separate cell phone, which is her friends with benefits phone. But she decides that maybe she wants to actually pursue something with Haruka because she's so intrigued with Haruka. And she also just really likes Haruka's body. Like, she is just doing it for her. I will say the series is a little bit ridiculous at times. Like, I really enjoyed it just because of the very drastic contrast in Rika's personality. She does do like a 180. She is like honestly probably one of the freakiest like characters that I've come across in any manga series. Like she is so unapologetically into sex and she enjoys it. And that's completely fine. Haruka is a little bit like scared by that, but doesn't really shame her. So if you're craving a Yuri rom-com that is more geared for adults, this one, Love Only the Body, will definitely be a good one. And if you want to get a lot of value for your money, this omnibus is really, really long, honestly. I really enjoyed it. You definitely do get to just really follow these two women and get to see them in very different scenarios, like them on a work trip, then on a date. And it's just overall very entertaining, very fun. And Rika is just, she's a lot sometimes, but she was so damn entertaining. So I really, really like that one. If I were to give this series a rating, I would say definitely for older teens, although it doesn't get like too explicit. I wouldn't say it's 18 plus. I would say definitely for an older teen. And the final recommendation that I have for you today is Love and the Highly Sensitive Person. This is another BL drama romance, which we follow two men with very interesting professions. One of them happens to be a hairdresser, and he is also neurodivergent. He happens to be a highly sensitive person. For anyone living outside of Japan, highly sensitive person, that term is pretty controversial, especially here in the US. But that's because in Japan, unfortunately, they're not on the same level of understanding when it comes to the autism spectrum, and they have a very different way of testing and diagnosing, especially adults. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to be using HSP, or highly sensitive person, which is how they portray the main character, Yo Yukinaga. But honestly, seeing the way that he interacts with the world as well as what he's going through throughout the series, I would say it's pretty certain that he would most likely be on the autism spectrum. That being said, Yo happens to be a hairstylist, so you can only imagine that every single interaction that happens, whether he drops his scissors or he sees his coworkers have a conversation, his brain just starts going into overdrive and starts overthinking every single interaction. And I really do enjoy all these panels where you can really see Yo in his own mind. Like, it's just, it was honestly pretty pretty refreshing to see someone who is neurodivergent be portrayed this way because it's quite relatable to anyone who happens to be neurodivergent or maybe deals with anxiety a lot of times. You start like analyzing the world very differently and you get very lost in your own thoughts. So seeing a character be portrayed this way it made me feel a little less lonely, if I'm being completely honest. And much like people on the spectrum, Yo happens to have a very strong emotional attachment to his favorite shears that he uses for his work. And he can't just trust anyone with his shears because they're that special. So when one of his coworkers personally recommends a blade sharpener, Yo decides to, give it a shot. Maybe this person will actually take care of his beloved shears. For Yo, this interaction was really great because he didn't have to meet anyone. He just basically shipped off his favorite scissors and he got them back perfectly sharpened. So he is just over the moon. And then he opens up the package and discovers a handwritten letter from the blade sharpener, which just, it's kind of like the cherry on top for Yo. Oh my god, this person was so caring with my beloved shears. And then I got a very lovely letter. So let's become pen pals. Because of this very wholesome, like pen pal interaction, Yo is under the impression that the blade sharpener is this very adorable older lady that just loves to sharpen blades and knives and all of these things. Just an older lady with a very interesting job. He decides that he wants to actually meet this person, the person that has been taking such great care of his shears. And when he arrives to the building, the person that has been taking such great care of his scissors happens to be a very disheveled looking young man. A little bit on the scary side as well. So Yo is a little bit a little bit scared, a little bit frightened, and he just thinks like, "Holy crap, this person hates me." And because their first interaction goes so bad, Yo is under the impression that he is now hated by his blade sharpener and he just doesn't want to inconvenience him. So Yo decides to ghost him and stop inconveniencing him. And Shiyo, the blade sharpener, is suddenly like, "Yo, like, what's going on? Like, don't you need your shears sharpened for work? Like, why did you stop sending me your shears to sharpen?" Since he was doing it so consistently. So as the two men get closer to one another, you definitely see Yo becoming a little bit more trusting of Shiyo and also just letting someone into his life. He's lived life trying not to inconvenience others, whether it was his mother or his coworkers. He's always under the impression that his existence and his like very anxious personality was just inconvenient for other people. And Shiyo just wants to be there for him and let him know that it's okay. If you're a fan of the opposites attract trope, I think you're really going to enjoy this one. Also, I feel like the pacing is perfect. We get a little bit of flashbacks, which really add to Yo's story. And you just get to see a lot of interaction between Yo and Shiyo, and it just strengthens their relationship. So I really enjoyed this one. I cried a little bit because it was a pretty emotional read. And I think it also portrays Yo as someone who is neurodivergent but worthy of being loved and understood and cared for. So I felt like his portrayal was done really well with a lot of care. Out of all the series that I recommended, this one is suitable for teens 13 plus, so anyone can enjoy it. And that is it for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed those recommendations, and do check out DLsite. Like I said, the affiliate link will be linked in the information bar below as well as in the pinned comment. And I just feel like it's cool to support the artist directly, and especially for titles that are not printed by any of the big North American manga publishers. There's still a way to enjoy manga written in English and specific genres that aren't as predominant in our manga market. So yeah, it's a cool way to check out new works, discover new artists, and also get to support these independent artists so they keep creating and keep investing on translating some of their stories into English. I already have a list of DLsite titles that I really want to check out. There's definitely more Yuri that I want to check out and more BL as well. If you have any questions about DLsite or any of the recommendations that I shared in today's video, please let me know in the comments. If you're brand new to my channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye bye!